Dead Peasant Radio.
We must have faith in each other.
Of informing and alerting.
Faith in our ability to govern ourselves.
Dead Peasant Radio.
It's now the most important task we face.
You are listening to Dead Peasant Radio.
Sometimes even anger. Public opinion.
I'm not the best, but I'm better than most. And if you hand me some bread, I might give back toast. It's hot fire, y'all don't wanna get too close. Big Worm calls me busy, rep the northeast coast. An all-star, spit wreck your car. Split molecular, hit a regular, show you where the heavies are. Roll thick, kid, ain't no rocket science. And I'll keep spitting truth till y'all can't deny it. I'll stay true, expect you to too. The LFD crew like a sexy stew, a mixed bag. Tell me how much sex you had, but your look makes the ladies go all night long. Make y'all sing the song, maybe bring a few friends along. What's wrong with that? Where all my ladies at? I'ma show you how to tame the cat.
Big Chief smoke a big pipe. I'm sick of haters, so we crush them all day and night. I'm from the stick, so I'm sipping on a Miller Lite. It's my life, my shoes are straight white. Our girls are so tight, I ain't looking for a fight, man. You got beef, better know how to tap dance. We brought love, all we wanna do is slap hands. Silly rappers only rapping with the cash, man. Toss them in the trash can. If you're from my home, raise them. And if you got blunts, blaze them.
Come on now!
And if you came to do what I think you came to do, then we'll rock on the mic till the clock hits 2. It's just what we do, man. LFD, walk around, it's our own brand. Better watch what you speak, cause we're listening. This is what our vision is. M.C.Capone controls the crowd like ventriloquist.
No, I'm the kind of cat that's always home for dinner. I work real hard this summer, don't do shit in the winter. Although I know I can hang, I wanna watch me. Yo, I hate that I hate y'all caught me. I bang hard, bang harder than y'all. And got plans for wishful thinkers never know what they got. Got love from the start, and nothing still they playing a part. Get everyone that ever writes, never writes with heart. I break parts whether on top or not. My crew, they bang hard, players wanted to stop. LFD with D-Train, we aim to finish and all thinking the same thing. We all in it to win it, then we'll flop a lot. Never know what's in store, like a coin flip, the shit that makes you puke on the floor. That's just me, what I do, yeah, we'll work it round. LFD, who knew, it's just a matter of time. I'm old school, grown men don't cry. And go tell him he never lived if he's afraid to die. Wise guy got a mouth since the day I arrived. Love the mic, it's my life, never leaves my side. What?
We don't want nothing. It took us a long time to get here, and now we are gonna fuck shit up. Welcome to Earth, population 0.
Last week, a couple of our friends came to Millie's, and they said they were here to see Sons of Kal-El, and the cocksuckers at the door said we were playing. That shit is unacceptable. And if you ever see or know of anything like that going down, tell them that a serious cock slap across the forehead is on the way. Yeah. Not from me, but from all of us.
And that's 5 cocks. Dead Peasant Radio number 9. Last time on Dead Peasant Radio, we were discussing the Bucks County pyramids.
Uh-oh.
And we didn't go too deep in it last time, but I went deep down the wormit hole.
The wormit hole.
The wormit hole, and on the YouTubes. And it's pretty interesting stuff what's going on out there.
It's definitely weird.
It's the more we investigated it, the more Scientology-like it started to get.
Well, the more secretive it gets, you know?
Yeah.
You can only get so far as the information. There was some interesting articles that I guess we'll get into.
Yeah.
But they're, you know, the newest one is 10 years old.
Yeah.
That reveals information about what's going on at the Bucks County pyramids.
Can I start by saying this, that I don't want anyone to be deceived because the YouTube video title's probably going to be something like Pennsylvania Pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get it clear right from the beginning that these aren't pyramids like the Egyptian pyramids that are thousands of years old. They're about 200 years old.
They're pyramid-shaped structures.
They're pyramid-shaped structures on known Rosicrucian land as documented in state court documents. And they're clearly man-made.
Yeah, there's no mystery about how the structures were made or even really when. Why is for sure an open question and one of the secrets that is sort of held by this brotherhood that calls themselves the Rosicrucians.
Yeah, it's interesting. So as we researched Rosicrucianism, is that correct?
I guess, close enough.
It can be.
Yeah.
or the House of the Rose,
The Rosy Cross.
or the Rosy Cross,
Mm-hmm.
the more it really, 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 and this might bother people out there listening that might be associated with them, but it really seemed culty.
Yeah.
It seemed like like an AA program almost.
Well, in the sense that
How it's structured.
there's so much secrecy around it, right? And you don't know who the members are. That's secret. You don't really know what their doctrine is. That's secret.
Yeah.
And they've as much as they can or have been able to, they've kept the structure of their organization a secret as well.
Yes.
So anytime you have that going on, and you also have students versus masters, and then you have this invisible group that, what do they call them? The Council of Seven.
Yeah.
Who nobody knows who they are, right? So anytime you have a structure like that embroiled in so much secrecy, and you have people at the bottom paying money in order to gain access to the information that these mysterious masters have, it starts to stink like a cult, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because here's my whole take on it. They claim to have sort of the answers to the universe. Well, if you had those answers, wouldn't you want everyone to have them?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be giving them out everywhere that you could?
There's definitely a control issue in there where they're using this knowledge to be able to apply it to or business, and be able to have control of something, a good or a service,
Right.
over the masses and profitize on it. Right. That's really what it is.
It's structured a lot like a multi-level marketing campaign. A pyramid scheme.
Yes, a pyramid scheme where consciousness and happiness and freedom is the final goal, right?
And it's in the possession of those who have this hidden knowledge that seemingly you can only access through giving back money.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about tithings and things like that in here.
And it's a knowledge of negative and positive vibes.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some of the stuff that came out. We're talking about an article that came out. I found it on Philly.com. It says it was posted in 1990 though, so that seems like pre-internet really to me.
Not but it's right around the time the only set of boobs you'd be able to download was Pamela Anderson.
Maybe not even her yet.
Very
1990.
early. Yeah.
But anyway,
Right.
This article was posted to Philly.com, which is probably, related to some Philly newspaper that published it in 1990 originally. And it basically talks about this dispute over who controls the Rosicrucian order that's in Bucks County out toward Quakertown.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Which, by the way, if you look at Pennsylvania's bridges, street signs, old taverns signs, it is heavy with secret society imagery and logos.
Right. Well,
the eagles everywhere around here.
Eagles and stars and triangles.
And the colors.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
So, well, that's sort of reflective of who was organizing the Revolutionary War, which were a lot of gentlemen that were in a bunch of different esoteric orders and secret societies back then.
You're only going to be able to you're only going to be able to organize a war with a group of people that you trust enough to basically tell your plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see how even in the future, if shit hit the fan, the people that are going to decide where things go are going to be the people in groups that actually are loyal to each other. And that's what the Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, they were like the one group in America. They were like a fraternity of local tradesmen and painters and carpenters. And it makes sense that when it came time to fight the enemy, the people that would be in the forefront would be the people that were grouped together and knew they could trust each other.
Right.
Right? And
educated men too.
And it got from then till now, it's become a totally different dragon.
Of course it has. Yeah. But if you want to talk maybe a little bit about what they do, what we do know that they believe,
because that's another thing is, I know I'm no expert on this, but what you're like, you think of secret society, you think of fraternities, you think of like just like this sinister group of men that get together, and it's like it'd be like if everyone in the NFL could somehow like if the NFL was like the WWF, and the NFL keeps the secret that it's fake, right?
Oh, right.
That's like what you think of a secret society. You think of this huge organization, and you can't even fathom how the secrets can be.
No, but usually it's not. It's a small group of men.
Yeah.
That have.
And there really aren't secrets.
Right.
Just levels you pay to get to.
Right, or you're not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
And, but as far as the Rosicrucians go, in this court case where it was basically a group of members that were trying to oust this Grand Master or Grand President, whatever they call him, named Posnicker back in the 90s, and they were alleging all kinds of things. You can, we've got the link in your Twitter feed, actually. Yeah. People can go and read the details about the court case if they want to, but that's hearsay, nearsay as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, definitely.
But basically, they were trying to say that this guy was misappropriating funds. They take him to court, and one of the documents that got called into court was this thing that they called their Book of Natural Law.
Yep.
Organic law.
Organic law, yeah.
Right. And both sides, even though it may have helped one side, both sides of the court case asked that not to be admitted as evidence. The judge said, okay, I'll keep it secret. But unless I feel like it weighs on the case, then I will bring it out. Mm-hmm. Only some aspects of it came out. But what we do know about the Rosicrucians, because of this article and some other supposed leaks, I'll read a quote from the article here. Where do I start? Members say they have a secret understanding of the universe. The fraternity draws eclectically from mysticism, philosophy, and science. Members generally believe that everything in the universe is permeated by the divine. They believe once people become aware... Sorry, I can't really see very well. It's a small writing, sorry. They believe once people become aware of the divinity within themselves, they can begin to control the forces of the universe according to the Encyclopedia Americana. They strive to achieve what they call soul consciousness. So, what does that sound like to you? I mean, that sounds similar to the basic tenets of what is called Gnosticism, which we talked about on a previous podcast. Yeah. This general idea that God isn't an entity, but rather it permeates everything in the universe, including you. Since we're all originated from this original source, some call it the Big Bang. I don't know what the Rosicrucians label it. If
shit would get erased from history from today backwards, and all that was left was today, and then 1,000 years from now, people are going through our record, it would be the same as basically this new mindfulness movement. Yeah. Self-enlightenment.
Soul consciousness.
It's the same thing. Except now that in the 40s, the only place you could learn about this was by joining one of these secret societies, Masons, Skull and Bones, and Rosicrucianism.
It's the same vein of mysticism that came out of Egypt that influenced other religions, like the OTO that Aleister Crowley started. Yeah. And just a lot of stuff that John Dee and those mystics wrote in the 1800s out of England.
It's funny. It's like people look at it. Oh, it's called it's different beliefs. It's not correct.
It's all the same stuff.
The truth is the reason why it works over and over again under so many different names is because it's real.
Because it's about natural law and sort of universal truths, and
it's really about the law of acoustics and sound and cymatics, and it can't be ignored.
And also it also carries with it. They relate the sacred geometry of all of it and the cymatics and the architecture to, it's all a symbol for the development of the inner spirit or the consciousness of the individual. And it's all the same stuff. It even says here in the article, they believe in a reincarnations as the Egyptians did. A lot of their artifacts are Egyptian in nature. The presence of blah, 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 blah. And then, we're talking about their pyramid. right?
Yeah.
That's in Bucks County, and the Rosicrucians consider that to be the perfect symbol of the soul, right? So there's their architecture relating to the human soul and human consciousness, and it just says that the reason they believe that is because it's a perfect form, because when the sun is directly over it, it doesn't cast a shadow, right? So this all relates back to the ancient cults in Egypt, and we're like, what we're saying here is that it's basically another repackaging. This time, someone labeled it Rosicrucianism or the Rosy Cross. You know, back in 1906, they claimed they sort of reverse engineered a myth, the development myth about it. This Christian Rosicrucian, who they accredit with creating it back in, what was it, 1856 or whatever. It's in the article. He's probably not a real person. It's probably a pseudonym. It also happens to be the same pseudonym that's used on the Georgia Guidestones, which is a whole other conspiracy podcast. So it's interesting. It definitely sniffs like a cult.
Yeah. Well, you know, it costs money to join, and even in this article, which you can find links in the summary of this podcast, states that, you know, to reach a certain level was $75, and to get to like the Grandmaster level would cost $375.
And nobody can know who the real leader is, which means that the president at the top, right, the guy just under the capstone, not only that, but at any time, and this article sort of points out that this guy probably did this leading to a court case, at any time that guy can say, oh, well, I got this, you know, order from on high from the secret elders, the Council of Three, and they want you all to do this now. Yeah. It's like, well, who can question that? Because nobody can know who it is. You know?
Yeah.
So anytime you find yourself in that type of an organization, or an organization where they want you to come and spend all of your time there, and they talk about how people live on this Bucks County campus, students do. Anytime there's an organization where they assign you a new name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all cult stuff. But it's all information that you can find on your own. You can access this information. I mean, you and I know more about the esoteric aspects of some of these secret societies than their own initiates.
And I spent, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I spent about straight 2 years. I work alone, first of all, and all I did for about 2 years, 40 hours a week, was listen to audiobooks about, like, mind science, like, you know, mindfulness and all that stuff. I listened to, like, hundreds of books. My Audible account bill was insane. Like, I was spending, like...
It's similar information to the audiobook that you recommended to me, the
Outwitting the Devil. Yeah. So, basically, what's happening is you have these groups, and it's funny how, like, the Freemasons attract a certain type of crowd, right? And the Skull and Bones attract a certain type of crowd. And at the tip of the pyramid is the Grand Master of the #1 Rosicrucian Lodge, which who knows where that is.
Well, they all claim that spot, though. They all claim that the other secret societies are just under their umbrella.
Exactly. And what they're really teaching, though, is just basically to control your mind. Don't live in a negative cloud. Only do things that make you happy. Don't surround yourself with fucking idiots, because the 5 people you surround yourself with is going to be the type of person you've become, right? And they teach you this in levels. And in the olden days, it worked. When you had the local library, your public schooling system, it was hard. But nowadays, there needs to be a movement that eliminates the group aspect completely. Like how Taoism is kind of studied from person to person. There's no real chapel where you go and practice it. I think that from the first grade, children should be taught mindfulness right from the beginning. Be like, yo, you should teach a kid. You know how they teach kids to, like, ignore bullies?
Yeah.
Well, they need to explain why you ignore bullies. You ignore bullies not because they beat on you, but because they're pieces of shit that make you feel like crap. And you don't need people like that around you, right? And they need to teach kids to apply that from an early age. Like, don't hang out with shitheads, right? From day one, you need to work on being positive and thinking positive, and don't judge people, because when you judge people, it has a negative effect. Right. Don't gossip about people. Now, have you ever walked into a room and there's 2 older women there gossiping? How stressful does it get instantly?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're doing something naughty, right?
Right.
nature wants you to exist in certain frequencies, and those frequencies make you feel happy. And that's like when you put on a Bob Marley record and it's like, jamming, I want to jam it with you.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
it's also
good vibes, right? And
Yeah.
that's what these secret societies are teaching. And where they get their power is that, like, they've learned to create brackets. And the Freemasons attract tradesmen. So what they know happens is these tradesmen join the local Freemason lodge and they learn mind science, but most importantly, they start networking with each other. And this foundation guy is giving this stone guy work.
Yeah.
And this painter's getting work from this carpenter. And that's the real power, right?
Right.
And that's why people do it, and that's why people stay.
And there's nothing really wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it gets wrong when you hold this knowledge from people that otherwise don't even know about you or your organization. People that need this. And the people that need it are the children. Right? The children should be taught this from first grade and on. So it's kind of creepy because, in a way, they're taking knowledge that should be just automatically downloaded into the human mind, like how a baby monkey knows how to walk in 3 days. The human monkey should know to just only do positive shit from the beginning, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
For some reason, nature has made it knowledge that needs to be passed down.
Right.
It's not passed down genetically, and these people are hogging it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's creepy, isn't it?
And it's creepy.
It's creepy when a group of wealthy,
very wealthy
people. I mean, we're talking about a big campus in Bucks County, which is one of the, the real estate here is probably some of the most expensive on the East Coast.
Yep.
And they've got this power, financial power. They've got, powers of the numbers.
Well, in the article we're talking about, doesn't it say that they own the land they own is worth like close to a couple $1 million?
Yeah, you're talking about
like where the pyramid.
They have an investment portfolio that, according to the article that was written in 2004, was worth $1.7 million. Now, the land, they own this land. They've got a place in Beverly Hills.
Well,
they claim there's only 1,000 members. Most of them are spread out all over the world, though. So you got to figure that a lot of them are people that are just paying, right? And getting this, what they think is some ancient, otherwise inaccessible knowledge.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is what draws them in is the undiscussed. And the undiscussed
the mystery of it.
Is the mystery of it, and it's the networking, right?
Yeah, and it's feeling like you're not just that you're part of a group, but you're part of a very select and secret group, right?
Yep.
Let me read this part to you about how secret they are. This is the end of that second article, also Philly.com from 2004. He said the fraternity keeps itself secret by design. We have a saying, those who talk do not know, those who know do not talk. For us, any man who declares himself a Rosicrucian is not one. A true Rosicrucian would not say so. There is no dogma in our group except the brotherhood of man and the potential of spiritual growth. We do hold to the tenet of reincarnation. There's no way it can't sound funky. There's no way that can't sound funky. It's expected by even Riccio and Fidel, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Anyway, so what they're saying, like their policy is that those who talk do not know, those who know do not talk. That means that anybody that leaves their group and says anything about it is automatically discredited. And, they aren't even part of our group.
Well,
so so any information that comes out of there is automatically just kind of got a BS label on it, which means that like for guys like us that are interested and could have an intellectual conversation, we could
even help train these Rosicrucians.
Like we can put out an appeal. Maybe we're wrong about this. If you're a Rosicrucian, give us a call. We'll have you as a guest.
Yeah.
But your church has already told us that you're full of shit if you do that. So it compounds the secrecy of this group.
It's good contractual copyright.
To my mind, that compounds its creepiness.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, like if you were enlightened with some ancient source of knowledge that you could see could improve the way that people live, it could get them in better structures, both physically and psychologically, as without within. If you could do that, wouldn't you share? I mean, you are sharing the knowledge, right? But what kind of a person would want to keep that to themselves with a small group just to collect them checks every month, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and benefit off of the networking of it.
Right.
You know, so as a contractor, I think I know who some of these individuals are. I've noticed, so there's these things in the contracting world called RFPs, requests for proposals, right? And you can sign up to multiple websites as a contractor. You prove you have insurance, and you can sign up to these RFP sites, requests for proposals. And a lot of it is commercial projects. So when you're seeing like new gas stations going up, new restaurants, stuff like that, malls, retail makeovers, these requests for proposals come up. Now, I keep track of this stuff all the time, okay? I know just about every project that's coming up in a 20-mile radius that I target. And then every once in a while, something will pop up. Something will start being built. And it's not built by one company, because every day you drive by there's different vans, different logos.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of these secret society guys are. They're construction world guys, and the thing is when something comes up, no one gets a chance to bid on this work. It seems to be like it's given to a select few, right? And these people get the bid on it. And there's certain companies in southern New Hampshire that are really big, and they seem to be everywhere where there's never RFPs at all. Yeah. And these are people that hang out with very influential political leaders in New Hampshire, big industry leaders in New Hampshire. Like the people that own these companies are known to frequent with these individuals.
Right.
And everywhere you see their vans, you never see RFPs for that work. Like you'll be like, I didn't even know that store was being built in my hometown.
It would be interesting to collect photographs of the logos that you talked about that are on these vans to dissect them for some of this.
I should, yeah.
Because I'll bet a lot of them have, basic sacred
Simple
geometry
stuff,
designs, the inverted triangles and opposing symbols and spheres.
Well, anyone that ever saw any of my logos would think I was like Grand Master of the Washington, D.C. Rosicrucian branch.
They would think you were Randall Carlson.
Yeah.
I do that too. I think it's interesting because it's all basic, like we're saying. It is all human knowledge. It's Taoism. It's sacred geometry. It's the Hermetic idea of as above, so below, as without, so within. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And you and I can issue those symbols forth just as much as any worshipful master can.
I heard something not too long ago that really changed my point of view on using that symbol tree. Because for a time I was kind of like, I don't want to insult anybody. But then I heard this lady give a speech, right? And she was an atheist. And they were talking about her home decor, right? And in her home decor, she had a lot of crosses, and she had a lot of this, like, religious symmetry, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, well, just because I don't believe in their story doesn't mean I can't enjoy their symbols. Like, what are they saying? If I don't believe what they speech, I can't use their cross in my house? Like, go fuck yourself. I like how it looks. Right?
Yeah, or even if you just agree with the basic idea.
With the idea,
you might agree with the idea of the symbols of the square and the compass and the G for gnosis.
And that's the one symbol I have on my truck. I have a big compass with the G in it, which is either God or geometry.
Or gnosis.
And my whole thing is, I use that fucking tool 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And geometry.
And you're on the square.
And I'm on the square.
As a conscious being.
Exactly. So I'm like, yo, screw you. You can't just use that idea, that symmetry.
You don't hear Taoists. You would never hear a Taoist say that you can't use the yin and the yang.
Exactly.
Because there is no central church of Taoism. There's no lodge to join, no dues to pay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the yin and the yang is one of the most.
It's life.
It's everywhere
it's
too,
frequency.
though. I mean, used to see it on metalheads' T-shirts. You see it on hippies' cars. You'll see it on a skateboard.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's the dragon eating its own tail.
People should consider themselves, and this is something you can learn from Rosicrucianism, about how your intent will will form the universe around you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I totally believe that.
People should realize that they can do that as well with the symbols that they create and use.
Yeah, I think another big weapon that's been used against us, right, is our physical shape itself.
Go ahead. What do you mean?
People are almost convinced nowadays that you need 3 big meals a day and you need to do this and that to survive, and you need all this and all that and showers and electricity. And the truth is you really don't need much. You do need to be out of the bugs. I hate bugs, man. You know,
I like
watched
showers
that
though,
show.
too. I'm not sure what you're arguing about.
I'm
I
saying
like taking showers and eating.
I'm saying that we're very busy in our modern culture.
Oh, we have many distractions.
And we have many distractions.
Our entire culture is about distractions.
And a big part about seeing the light and living a balanced life. And what I mean by balanced is like emotionally balanced. You don't ever throw your phone at their wall, and you don't ever break down and cry.
And the actions that you take, the things that you do have purpose.
When your car breaks down, you learn to pull the car over, say fuck it, call AAA and go home and not get mad about it. Where the 19-year-old M.C.Capone would have fucking taken his phone and thrown it into the tree and acted like a total monkey, right?
Yeah.
Fucking would have been pissed, would have looked at it like $90 to fix it would have been the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm just like, that's the biggest thing to me is like, when it comes to practicing mindfulness, it's almost like you need to be the opposite of a hoarder. You need to freaking live in an empty house.
Yeah.
Both mentally and literally.
Yeah.
Right? Have a hobby, have a job, and own nothing else. Don't be chained down by credit card payments, TV payments, cell phone payments,
distractions.
You know, all these
distraction payments
that keep you trapped. And I think that's what, I don't know, but I'm assuming if I were to join one of these secret societies, I would expect that that's what I would learn to master. I would learn to master the mindfulness of existence and being able to stay in a balance.
Yeah.
Right?
Being a high self-monitorer. You know, it's the idea that came out of ancient Egypt, once again, the idea of the man and the Atman, the observer, right? So you're not just one person, you're two people. You're the person that has the thought, but because you're an evolved human being, you're also the person that can analyze that thought.
Yes. Well,
and developing the ability to do so in a purposeful and peaceful manner and be an honest person without and within is sort of the whole goal and the point. It's the way to have a pure form, to be a pyramid, right?
To be a pyramid.
So that when the sun is above you, when the light is directly above you,
there's no
above
shadow.
your brain, your spirit chakra,
when you're balanced,
there's no shadow. You're balanced.
Exactly.
You are enlightened. You're illuminated.
And the shadow represents maybe the 7 deadly sins, right? Is that what exists in the shadow? Is
distractions.
The distractions.
And the lies, because the shadow is a lie, isn't it? Because it's a representation of the pyramid. It's not the actual pyramid.
And what's cool about it is that it makes sense, and what's not cool about it is that these groups that we're talking about take that and they make it like secret.
Yeah.
Right? And
we're the only ones that have this, and if you tell anybody...
Don't you tell your kids that when he breaks his skateboard, he shouldn't get mad.
Yeah.
You know, watch him get mad.
You're right about what you said in the very beginning. It is very much like the Scientologist sort of thing.
Yes.
You know?
Because there's money involved. And I get the money because they have lodges and stuff, and they got all this land, there's taxes, they need to make up everything that exists, has expenses, and it has income, and it has net and gross profits, right?
Yeah.
And
but why do they need that for a group of a few? I mean, we're talking about a beautiful campus in Bucks County. Well, why is that closed off for just a few people?
The
children should be playing there on their pyramids and learning about this stuff.
Most of these men are probably involved in small town politics.
Actually, I'm sure that they are. It's weird because in this article they talk about this line of leaders that they've had, and all of them happen to be chiropractors for some reason, which smells weird to me, and maybe is a lie, but maybe it isn't. And a lot of the names just seem fake too. So I think a lot of these guys are using pseudonyms.
Well, again, if you go back to the text of Rosicrucianisms, these guys are full of shit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I think they're giving fake names because they had to talk in court.
Can we talk about the pyramids themselves?
Yeah, the biggest one is 20 foot by 20 foot at the base.
Yep.
So we're not talking about a large structure. It's basically big enough to have a big, creepy door right in the center, kind of etched in to one side of the pyramid. Now, what is inside of the pyramid is sort of unknown. You can see the one video on YouTube that we'll post a link in your Twitter or mine or both, where a kid did actually look inside of the one door, and then there was pictures on the wall. One was the presidential seal, a couple of other symbols on the wall. But the wall was made of these marble sheets on the inside that were bolted up there, so they were clearly meant to be removed. And when you look at the structure, there would be a cavernous kind of space behind where those walls are. It'd be like looking into a closet, but the outside of the pyramid is much bigger than what that closet is.
Yeah.
So it could be that those pyramids are solid and it's meant to be some sort of sound generating booth. It may basically...
Sound healing.
I was thinking it very well may be a rudimentary isolation tank for an initiate to go into, probably on a hallucinogenic drug, and sound is pumped into them.
Just a frequency.
Could be something like that. It could also be that
hertz,
those marble panel walls with the symbols on them are removable, and it leads to what some speculate is an actual large underground pyramid structure.
Yeah.
And we're only seeing the very top of it.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so based on the stones and the way that the pyramid, as you can see it above ground, is built. They wouldn't have, like, people that built stone structures that way wouldn't have had the sort of capabilities of digging hundreds of feet or 30, 40 feet deep in the ground.
Without dynamite and it being a big deal.
To build a pyramid. If it was a group of architects that were able to do that, they would have used monolithic blocks like they did in Egypt.
Yep.
You know? So I tend to think it's just an above ground structure. My theory is it's some sort of ritualistic chamber, probably had to do with sonic experience, because we know that in Egypt they, part of an initiate's process was going through the Temple of Man, where they did use the architecture to manipulate sound and light to give these initiates this almost psychedelic experience as they process through the architecture of this temple. I think it has something to do with that. I'd love to ask somebody, well, but we already know based on their own doctrine that anyone that answers our question is a liar.
Is a liar.
See, that's the genius of it.
Yeah.
It's it's an endless loop. It's the snake eating its tail. You'll never know if you get to the truth of Rosicrucianism.
Yeah. Well, I've been reading this book called The Residence Key, and it's all about how past cultures believed that sound could heal, and they used it for all types of stuff. And
they still do.
Well, and it's not just sound. I mean,
I have a sonic toothbrush.
Sound is just a frequency range,
right,
you know? So, like, an MRI machine is really, you're using wave technology to do something. And sound is the same. And it's definitely, there's two cases that are pretty hard science proof that they help heal broken bones faster. And it's based on that everything vibrates, right? And when you're positive, when you're on good vibes, when you're listening to Bob Marley, you're really just vibrating at a certain hertz that makes the human body feel good, right? It's in phase with its natural frequency, its natural resonance. And when you're angry or mad, or it's not in phase, and that's what causes this, mental collapse. So it's totally possible, and it's not pseudoscience. It's just ignored by modern science. Modern science is on this chemical doctor kick, right? Everything's chemical based. Treat everything with chemicals. Where like the holistic healers who believe that it's the same people that use the float tanks, right?
Yeah.
It's the same type of person. The holistic healer who believes that sound can heal you is probably within the same group of people that believe the float tank heals you and those hyperbaric chambers help you out, and you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's the same idea, right? If you think the float tank helps you out, you have to think that sound frequency can also balance you out. If you don't, then you're a little wacky because it's the same.
The float tank is basically taking away all of the other
outside
sound.
world.
So you're only
It's
hearing
just
your own
you.
vibration.
It's just you.
Yeah,
And
there's zero sound.
Yep. And it's probably very easy to get your body in balance quick.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what those pyramids are for.
Right? Isolation.
To get you back into harmony with your natural resonance tone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm going to start experimenting with it. I do know that there's videos on YouTube. You can Google, like, cymatics, water moving backwards.
Yeah.
Right? So
What is that?
So we exist in a world that vibrates at a certain frequency, right? It has a root harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you play a song in the key of C, you can hold down a C note on a keyboard throughout the whole fucking song, and it will never sound wacky because it's the background, right? It's what the song is tuned to. And our world has a root frequency that it vibrates at. All right, it's like 528 hertz or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you vibrate off of that, so if you're out of phase with that frequency, it's usually because something negative's happened in your world, or you're angry, or you're mad, or you're just out of phase with just being in harmony with existence.
Okay.
And when you're in harmony, it's when you feel good, and that's it. And that's what all of this stuff is about. All of this secret society lessons, all cults. Anytime anyone tries to form a group, that's what they hold over your head.
That's what they're offering.
They offer you a permanent state of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And you don't need to join a group to do it. Not nowadays. You can become self-enlightened.
You don't have to pay dues. You don't have to change your name. You don't have to move to a campus.
Yep.
You don't have to shave your head. You don't gotta wear Nikes.
You don't need to lose your virginity to a man in Nikes with deer antlers on his head.
You can if you want. You know. But just look out for the antlers because you could get poked in the eye.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting stuff. I'm excited. Tomorrow, people, we're gonna go out to the Bucks County pyramids, and we're gonna actually try to see if we can get some footage.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna go. I've heard there's no trespassing signs, and you can get bum rushed out of there, or they'll call the cops or whatever. But you know, fuck them. If you can't take a joke, take a shuttle, right?
What if when they come up to me, I look at them dead serious, and I go, "Obama sent me here."
I think the best thing we can do is just ask them our honest questions.
Yeah.
Like, what is the pyramid used for? You know, what does this? I want to know specifically how they interpret those symbols and what they what they read to as.
Or
as
what
a member.
about we want to build a pizza oven that's a replica of the Bucks County pyramid, and we would.
Who was the architect? I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll either get to ask them some questions, or we'll just get some pictures and no one will show up, or we'll get rushed out of there by the cops. But whatever, we got lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm playing
radio live and uncut.
I'm playing a interesting video off of the YouTube's called Cymatic Science versus Music with Nigel Stanford.
Can you pull up the videos of the water moving backwards?
Water moving backwards?
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm sorry, people. We've been partying. This is actually vacation. This is why Adam is actually on a mic and not being recorded through a phone.
That's right.
Because I'm in Pennsylvania.
We're in beautiful New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and we were partying. But I was talking about how they use cymatics to make water look like it moves backwards. So basically, when water falls towards the ground in the 528 hertz root hertz that we exist in, it appears like it's falling to the ground. But if you run a hose over a speaker and blast like 24 hertz through the hose, the water actually looks like it's moving backwards up into the hose. And you can watch multiple videos of this on YouTube. And what it is
perception is reality.
Frequency is perception. Mm-hmm. So we perceive things in a certain frequency range, which gives them the effect of gravity. I don't think
that's fucked up.
Gravity might not even be real.
So we learned, we were talking about on a podcast like last week, one of them.
Yeah.
couple weeks ago maybe, about how the observer effect.
Yep.
And about how some things don't have mass until we look at them, until we observe them, basically.
Yep.
So maybe that's true of gravity. Gravity only exists because we pay attention to it.
Or maybe gravity only exists because we think we need to be feet first on the rock.
Yeah. Or maybe gravity only exists as a side effect of consciousness.
I don't know. I don't have answers to that stuff, and they're
It's
all
some
about
crazy
finding
shit
the
to think
Higgs,
about, though.
And it's all about
They're
string
looking
theory
at CERN,
right now.
right? They're looking at the super collider. They're trying to figure out the answers to these questions. Like, we sound like a couple of hippy dippy Fruit Loops,
but we're not.
But the smartest minds in the world are trying to answer these
smartest
questions.
minds
Why
in
do
the
atoms
world.
have mass? Why does gravity exist?
The smartest minds in the
Shit.
world operating a machine that goes through like 4 countries that costs hundreds of billions of dollars to build.
The biggest science project ever.
And there's people from every country working on it. Like, there's no international laws
This
there.
ring goes through like 3 countries, right? It's a collider
insane,
they built.
yeah.
And they very well could, in the process of what they're trying to figure out, they very well could open up a black hole on Earth and everything gets sucked in and cancel Christmas. Don't bother taking your cat to the vet because it's over, Johnny.
Yeah, but the black hole, they say, they creates the size of a pinhole and it burns out.
Maybe that's all you need.
Hey, I think they're doing some crazy stuff there, definitely, for sure. But I don't know. How many people involved in that are part of these secret societies?
Well,
right?
they do have some weird esoteric symbols, right?
They definitely do.
They right out front of CERN, and anyone can goggle this and look it up. There's a big statue to Shiva, which is the goddess of the Hindu goddess of destruction, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
Right? Oppenheimer, when he blew off the atom bomb, said, "Now I have become Shiva, the destroyer of worlds."
Wow.
And they've got a statue to that goddess right out in front of the main CERN opening.
Wow.
Like, what? What are we doing, guys? You can't be that creepy. Why that god? Why not Vishnu? Or, uncorruptibility?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they say that if you want to be a good writer, right, you need to live in the shit you write about.
Mm-hmm.
And the shit I write about is just about everyday people, the lives we live, the way we're programmed, and the ways we can avoid it. That's kind of like my thing. I don't rap about cars or...
Yeah, you talk a lot about understanding how you're being conditioned.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why I do it that way. That's just how it is, right?
Because you're a troublemaker.
So, when I look at these secret societies, it makes me sad because there's so many idiots in the world that if we only would have taken them away from the idiots when they were young, like we
shared the knowledge
and share the knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. How much better the world would be.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good point. I can't argue with that.
When I drive through a part of my state that is blatant, like, I don't even have an issue, like, calling people out. It's fucking low life, all right?
They're
like,
uneducated.
The way they keep their
malnourished.
The way they keep their structures, the way they carry themselves, the fucking objects and things they put in their bodies is disgusting, right? And to me, it's like, why? I mean, that isn't fun. It's not enjoyable. Your body ages fast, right? Why are people doing this? And it's because they don't know better.
They've been conditioned.
And there's these secret societies whose whole ladder is teaching how to not be like that.
And it is weird that a lot of these corporations that are making the poison that people are consuming use a lot of occult symbols in their logos.
Yeah. It's not really much of a secret. It's almost more of a flexing of power and a flexing of knowledge.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
internet.
that's how magic supposedly works.
Yeah.
You have to be able to tell the person you're doing it, and then, they accept it, and then it works.
We just teach little kids, and I have kids, so if you're out there thinking, give you kids,
It's like,
go fuck off, dude. Keep raising your puppets. But listen,
I got bills to pay.
what your kids are learning at public school isn't what they should be learning.
No, not
These
at
kids
all.
are
They're not learning
babied.
anything.
They're fucking babied.
They're learning how to fall in line.
They're babied.
It's a system that is 100% designed to breed mediocrity.
Yeah.
Which otherwise they wouldn't have standardized tests.
Yeah. Well, kids
know?
say the fucking most genius shit too. Like there was this guy on the Rogan podcast, a scientist, and he was teaching these kids about how there's this beetle in Florida that eats the oranges.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "What can we do about it?" And all the kids had different answers. And one of the kids says, "We should grow them on the bottom of the seafloor in a dome." Right? And everyone laughed. But really, what the kid's saying is,
You gotta isolate them.
we need to isolate them from the environment.
Yeah.
And even though he didn't understand what he was saying, he was 100% correct. Maybe
Kids see
instead
things in genius ways that we can't.
maybe instead of building Walmarts and these gigantic structures where you can go buy a bunch of shit you don't need, we should be building these gigantic structures and growing fucking shit in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Teaching our kids how to do it while we...
And the kids should run it. The kids shouldn't go to high school. They should go to, today I have to grow the community strawberries, right? And
It used to be that would be part of the education,
yeah.
right?
And on Friday I have to go build a house for old man Larry.
Mm-hmm. But that's not good for... If you teach kids by doing practical worldly things that are useful to them, then you make a dangerous animal because they're not as dependent on a system when they become to adulthood, right?
Yeah.
They're not as sort of larval and helpless as most adults are. I mean...
They're not herded easily.
Right.
You
Because
can't
they can
herd
fend
them
for
into
themselves.
a path. Yeah.
And that takes a lot of stress off of a person.
Yeah.
Because a person that knows that they can ultimately fend for themselves then starts to ask deeper questions of life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You start to think, oh, well, why do we do things this way? Or what does this mean or that mean? Or how could I improve on a system?
Yeah.
And that's not good for the people that are in charge.
Running it.
The
And
people
who
at the
want
top
their
of the
kids
pyramid.
to take over and their grandkids to take over.
Right.
Like, shit needs to be kept secretive.
Yeah,
right?
like this family that wants to hand down the mastership of the Rosicrucians from son to grandson.
I get 7
so on.
contracts a year from Jerry, who's a fellow brother.
Yeah.
Right? And I need to keep paying my dues, and I need to stay within the group. Yeah, I mean, I like I've said on past podcasts, to me it's all about individuality. People need to become individuals and not rely on group structures. And once everybody's an individual and everybody is out not just for themselves, but to help all the individuals around them, no matter
to get all
what
of
they
their friends
believe,
into good structures.
we're just gonna keep being at war.
Yeah, with each other and with ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up in the generation where you probably still hear some pretty crude shit through your grandparents' mouths.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you know.
Hell yeah. Stuff that'll get you attacked on Twitter nowadays.
Fuck yeah. So, I mean...
to this day you still hear it. But that's all changing.
But I mean, people...
And that's see, all of that, our society is getting better in that way because people were able to share information, right? People were able to gain empathy for each other through social media, really, in the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
People have learned, like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't call someone a faggot. Like, maybe that is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Maybe that does make people feel like they're less than.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well...
I mean, if you call someone a faggot, you're a faggot.
I think that they have learned that they can make the way you feel on a positive or negative level habitual. Like, they can get you addicted to the Monday night, 8 o'clock CBS drama that's gonna put you in a certain frequency range, right? They can get you addicted to the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 routine that's going to put you in a certain frequency range. They can put your kids in a certain level of aggressiveness through sports, through cartoons,
the warrior
through
programming,
video games, to put them in a certain vibrational pattern that makes them susceptible to certain vibrational patterns of marketing, right? So you're all controlled technically through the way you vibrate. And how do they do that? They do it through sound, right? Audio. They do it through video,
which is light,
visual.
Yeah.
And they even do it, it's not so dangerous, I don't think, but through flavor. You know, like soda, sweets, sugars, cakes, ice creams.
They fire off those reward systems.
Iced coffees, coffees with sugar. They definitely control the taste frequencies that we absorb. And by control I mean they know how to make...
It's breakable programming, though, man. I've been eating so many vegetables out of my garden lately.
It's breakable, but it's not easy. Come on, man. How many times have you been out and you've been like, man, I need a lunch, and you don't have anything, and you're like, I want to eat something somewhat healthy. And you start looking around, and we drove from New Hampshire to Pennsylvania, and I was like, we're going to stop when we get to an exit where it looks like there's something original and fun.
There's no...
And every exit was Dunkin' Donuts, Friendly's, or what's the other breakfast place. It's the same shit every fucking exit.
Yeah.
This country is becoming
all with
sad
the corporate logos
fractal.
Above it. Yeah.
We're becoming a sad corporate fractal.
Yeah.
Where every exit's going to be the same thing, just on repeat.
Well, it's easy to maximize profit that way.
It's sad, man.
I know. It's sad. There is a pushback, though, right?
There is
around
a pushback.
Here, a lot of people are going to the farmers markets.
But it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder for people to start small businesses. Especially where we've become a country that basically buys and sells properties to each other.
Yeah.
Right? And fixes each other's properties. Like, that's... If you live in America and you're wealthy and you're not like a scientist or something, chances are you're involved in real estate or fixing real estate or the trades.
Selling it.
Buying it.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what we've become. So, like, you can no longer get a place on Main Street in downtown New Hope without a huge financial risk. You know?
Yeah, that's very true.
It takes 6 months.
And that's why, the Dunkin' Donuts and the Starbucks of the world move in.
They dominate.
Yeah.
Because they got people with their Dunkin' Donuts loyalty cards. And they know, well, if we put a Dunkin' Donuts in their town, even if it's a little out of the way, if they have free Dunkin' Donuts dollars, they're going to start participating and going to this Dunkin' Donut. I mean,
not only that, it's all the people from out of town.
Yeah.
They don't know that the coffee at the French bakery is actually fucking amazing.
Oh my god!
But they know exactly what their mocha colada culo grande tastes like it from a Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Dude, I freaking...
Because they got one near their house.
Cross that triple espresso, man.
That was like a 5 shots. You drank basically a coffee cup full of espresso.
Dude, that was a buzzing time, dude.
That was insane.
Yeah, that got me pumped up.
Yeah, I just had a little iced coffee, but how tasty was it, right?
Very tasty. Very
Coffee
tasty.
Steve might even like that stuff.
Yep. So, I mean, in a nutshell, this episode, we're not experts on the Bucks County Pyramid.
No, and as a matter of fact, I want to be clear about this. Like, we're not part of any of these esoteric orders.
Yeah.
I don't really even know anybody that is.
No.
But if you are, and you want to come on here and talk honestly, you don't have to give your name, but you do have to say what group you're a part of, and you got to answer our questions openly and honestly. Then please come on and enlighten us if you can.
Yeah.
We're not trying to take a shit on someone and not give them a voice, but from what I can see, it is kind of as we see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and we have eyes to see.
Why not make information that could make society better public knowledge?
Why wouldn't you tell everyone on the planet?
Yeah. Exactly. Right? Yeah. Well, listen, Dead Peasant Radio. We will be back next time, and I don't think we'll let people know about what we see tomorrow when we drive out there.
We'll shoot some videos. It'll probably be overlaid. The video will probably be like overlaid over the podcast on YouTube.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
can see
so
what we see.
Watch it on YouTube if you've downloaded it on iTunes. Just go to YouTube and type in Dead Peasant Radio or DPR space the number symbol and number like 9, and that will be this unit. So DPR number 9. And in the meantime, please go to deadpeasantradio.com and check out the music and the artwork by your fabulous hosts.
Go to @DeadPeasantPod on Twitter. Hit us up with information, articles that you want us to talk about, questions, insults that you have.
Yeah.
You want to tell us your grandma's meatloaf recipe? Hit us up on Twitter @DPR Podcast. And what are you? @Dead Peasant Radio? No, you're @Dead Peasant Pod.
Yeah, I'm Dead Peasant Pod, I believe. I'll put the links in the show notes.
Get involved. Join the conversation. Quit sitting there.
Yeah, quit sitting there. Peace.
Dead Peasant Radio.
We must have faith in each other.
of informing and alerting.
Faith in our ability to govern ourselves.
Dead Peasant
It's now the most
Radio.
important task we face. Important task we face.
You are listening to Dead Peasant Radio.
Sometimes even anger public opinion.
What can we do? What can we do? Face the truth. The truth.